Hello, everyone. This is Grant Swartzwelder with OTA Environmental Solutions, and welcome again to Environmental Insight video series and Oilfield Strong video series. We're very fortunate to have Mallori Miller, who is Vice President of Governmental Relations for IPAA, right in the throes of all of the activity going on in DC as it affects the energy industry. Mallori, thank you for joining us. Obviously, big announcements this a couple days ago of all sorts of hand waving. What does that mean as far as getting rid of endangerment, getting rid of Quad OA, all these things? It's a lot of flash. Is there substance there?
Yeah, it's been a very busy week in DC for us. The endangerment finding rollback was huge. Um, I think we have yet to see exactly how that's going to be rolled out, how it will stand up to legal challenges, that sort of thing. But this is a policy that was put in place in 2009 with the Obama administration. But really, it goes back much farther than that. To Bush 1, talking about greenhouse gas emissions and their effects on climate change. So we see this as a positive for the industry, for our guys. But exactly how the administration plans to roll this out, and the legalities of it are going to be very complex. I think we're going to see a lot of litigation and challenges in the coming months and weeks. And just it's going to be interesting to see exactly where the industry, from small to large, where they fall on this spectrum, because we've heard from some larger producers that they're not necessarily a fan of rolling this back. IPAA represents mostly independents, so I think this will be a positive, and that positive for us. But again, we're just going to have to see how it all plays out, and exactly how they plan to take this through the legal system, because it will definitely be challenged by environmentalists.
With all this uncertainty about how it's going to progress, how does an independent producer address this, or what do they do? And I'm probably putting you in a very awkward spot to answer that.
Well, we have said everything that has happened in the past couple of weeks. It's all happening at a breakneck speed with the Trump administration. And everything has been very positive for our producers.
Sure.
However, we are saying take everything with a grain of salt, because it all is going to be challenged in the legal system, and we don't know exactly how that's going to turn out. So I would not go and change all of your plans right now. Um, just kind of hold tight and see exactly how some of this works itself out.
Not to put words in your mouth, but so are you suggesting that people just continue to do as they've been doing as far as their LDAR plans, as far as how they respond and all?
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll know more in the coming weeks. There's not really guidance at this point on how to proceed. So once EPA releases some guidance, I think we can have a better understanding of exactly what the Trump administration is trying to achieve here, and that'll help us inform our members a lot more efficiently on exactly how to proceed. But for the time being, reporting requirements are still in place. So, legally, they still need to report things. So, we are saying very positive news, but stay the course for now.
Okay. You mentioned endangerment and how the history of that, if they roll that back, it seems like that just eliminates so many things.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see, because the endangerment finding is how a lot of rules were promulgated. Um, Rules were created on that endangerment finding. So if this gets rolled back, that puts a lot of things into jeopardy. I don't know that it nullifies things. I'm not an attorney, but you could make a case for that, I think.
But the but for that to happen, what's going to have to happen? That's hearings. The way I see it, it's a couple years and a lot of administrative.
Yeah, it will have to be a full blown rulemaking process. They'll have to go through a full comment period. and it will be several years, and then it will get litigated. So it's a good thing the Trump administration got this out now, because it's going to take their entire 4 years, I think, to get to some sort of certainty at the end.
But I guess the positive of that you just said with that is that they're doing it early because Trump won. They did things late and they could get reversed back.
Yeah, we're seeing a completely different administration this time. He came in knowing what he wanted to do. He got the right people in place quickly. The Senate moved through confirmations, so his cabinet's completely in place. Um, it's a completely different administration, Trump 2 versus Trump 1. It took a long time for the first Trump administration to get up and running. Just took a long time to get people in place, took a long time to get the wheels rolling on what needed to be unwound. He came in ready to go this time. And you can see that with the day one executive orders, honestly. So he knows what he wants to accomplish, and they're working hard to get it done.
I would agree with that. Tell us about a lot of issues with federal lands. I know that's one of your main areas. Give us an update
Yeah.
on
Yeah. So I primarily work on federal land issues for IPAA, both onshore and offshore. There are a lot of issues right now. The Biden administration was really detrimental to the production on federal lands, both onshore and offshore. So the Trump administration, with his day one executive orders, America First Energy, he required that the agencies and departments go back and look at all the regulations that are on the books. And if there's anything that hampers energy production, American energy dominance, that they take a look at that and reverse it or revoke it or try and figure out how to make things work to unburden the industry. And we're really seeing a lot of that come to fruition now. It's been 30 days. The department's had 30 days to do that. So there's a lot of different um, regulations that are now, like in the past week, 2 weeks, that are coming to fruition, things being rolled back. A lot of things within the ESA space, which I think is obviously pertinent to all of our companies, whether you operate on federal lands or not.
yes.
There was just a ruling from the solicitor on the M opinion for Migratory Bird Treaty Act to roll that back for incidental take. That's a huge win. And again, as I said with endangerment finding, a lot of this stuff is going to get litigated. So we still have to hold our breath. But the fact that they're addressing it now is really helpful. And we're hopeful that they can get some of these regulations off the books that have been really harmful to our members and kind of stymieing production and slowed things down.
Very good. Another big topic, reconciliation. Where are we with that?
Yeah, so the reconciliation bill, it currently, as we're filming this, it is March 14th. So the House and the Senate are about to head into a recess week. This is the first recess week that the Senate has taken since they've been back in from January, from the start of Congress. So
Poor thing,
must
they're having to work like a whole month or
I know,
two
it's
months. It's like,
crazy.
wow, okay.
So for the House, they're moving along pretty steadily. As I mentioned before, I work mostly on federal lands issues. So my committee of jurisdiction is the House Natural Resources. I talk to them quite frequently. They've got language that's pretty set and ready to go at this point. And I believe they're going to have a markup on that language the week after recess or the week after that. So the beginning of April, they should have language reported out of their committee that can go to the full House and be voted on. I think there are between 9 and 11 other committees that got reconciliation instructions. So those committees will be doing the exact same thing. But we're really excited about this reconciliation bill. There's a lot in it that would be very helpful for our members. For federal land producers, there's mandatory lease sales, reverting some of the royalty rates back to previous levels. mandatory lease sales offshore, which is a huge issue because the 5-year plan offshore that was promulgated under the Biden administration is just absolutely atrocious. And then obviously we're looking for a repeal of the methane tax. So those are the big issues that we're hoping to see in reconciliation. And we have pretty good authority that they're going to get in there. Still working through a couple funding issues on certain things, but we're really happy with where things are headed.
With all this drill baby drill, all the regulation going away, and then I hear administration talks about $50 oil and how that would help inflation and all. It sure seems like if we're not careful, we could be increasing supply to such a point that could really hurt price. How do we balance that? Because obviously, price at the end of the day is going to hurt producers more than any of this.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we can safely say that the administration sometimes makes comments off the cuff without necessarily thinking through the policy. And so we are really trying to have very thoughtful conversations with people that are now in the heads of agencies who are making decisions on things and explaining some of the cost benefit of what this might entail. I think it's safe to say that the administration can sometimes walk things back. But yeah, $50 oil is going to be hard for our guys. And if Trump wants American energy dominance, that's not going to happen with $50 oil.
No, very true. So what should we look forward to in the next 30 days? It sounds like reconciliation, hopefully a little more guidance from EPA on some of their announcements. What else should we be looking for?
Yeah, I think there's going to be other things that come out from the administration that are walking back Biden era rules. There's still a lot of things that we're waiting on in the federal land space, from fluid mineral leasing rule, a number of different other rules that we're looking at. Congress, I think, is probably going to be pretty focused on reconciliation. That's the thing they're headed towards. They do also have to deal with the debt ceiling. I think there's talk about folding that into the reconciliation bill or discussion. But that debt ceiling is going to hit probably sometime in late May or early June. So if they don't get reconciliation done before that, they're going to have to deal with that. So those are the things that we're looking at in the next days. As I said, they're headed into a recess week. I think it'll be a good time for them to reset. Speaker Johnson's coming off of a huge win, being able to get the CR passed through the House with Republican votes. There were, I think, 22 Republicans that had never voted for a continuing resolution, and he was able to flip almost every single one of them. I think they've got momentum. I think it's going to be a good spring.
Well, you could probably use the week off too. I know IPAA has been spending a lot of time focused on these issues, so appreciate all that you've done on that. Mallori, thank you for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me, Grant.